Make sure they're both up. 1 and 2. Good. Good morning, gamers, and welcome back to Streaming Story Saturdays. Today we are actually starting on Saphrine's Chapter 2, run through of Post-ARR storyline. Since last week, we went and did the raids, both the hard trials for the primals and the Crystal Tower raids, which are requirements for beating post-ARR. So we went and got those out. That way we can just get back into the actual story without having to have any hiccups, without having to have anything block or impede our path in the way. So, let me do a little double check of everything else on that side. That should get everything to settle in place. Everybody's happy except for me. That's good. All right. So yeah, let's get this story on the road. Now that the kitty's warmed her whiskers. Is there something else I want to check first? No, I don't think so. I am going to be a little worn right now. Definitely running on empty at the moment. Our friends, the very isle itself, and everyone else. Yes, that's right. The last time we did the post-ARR questline, we ended with the Isle of Val being disappeared through some who knows what. And all the students of Baldessian involved in that were disappeared as well. That is something we'll find out about later. No, it avails us not to speculate. Uriah and Sherry will send word if there are any developments. Until such time as he does, we must remain firmly focused on that which is within our power to change. With that in mind, I would speak of a different matter, one closer to home. It concerns the etheric fluctuations which had been previously attributed to good King Mughal Mog the 12th. That the king is no more is a blessing for which we have you to thank. Yet all is not well in the Twelves Wood. Our latest readings reveal an ongoing etheric disturbance, considerate magnitude. They may even suggest the presence of a primal. Okay, that should be better. Needless to say, the mere possibility warrants immediate investigation, and I would have you... Acelia, I do not wish to interrupt, but we have a problem. What manner of problem? A band of refugees hailing from Uldal this time. They are come to Revenant's Toll seeking asylum. It would seem they expect us to afford them the same treatment we gave the Domans. At present, they are in the seventh heaven, awaiting a formal response. I see. Mayhap this was to be expected. I shall meet them at once. Acelia, you know full well we haven't the resources to accommodate many more people. Considering what will happen if you do this, word will spread and more will follow. Your opinion is duly noted, but I will hear their suit. Yeah, take that, Mom. Saphrine, I should be grateful for your presence this meeting. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is going to be rough. Oh, boy. The cover is in the right position. Yeah, it's okay. Do, 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 do. Where? There. I apologize for keeping you waiting. My name is Minfilia, and I lead the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. 12 be praised. It is you. We're ready and willing to work, same as the Domans. Just give us a task and we'll see it done. Pray, calm yourselves. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I know not of your situation. Beg your pardon, Antizine. I ain't so good with words. We've been living off scraps for Uldar for years now, trying to piece together a life to replace the one we got took. They say there's work, but there's not for an honest man. Not as wouldn't sully his soul sooner than his palm, and he wrote. The flames do what they can for us, of course, but it ain't near enough. And it only getting worse. When the calamity brought us to our knees, those rich bastards in the city didn't help us up. They climbed on our backs. I don't pretend to be clever, but even I can see what coming. I knew we had to run, and the only question was where. And then it came, Revenant's toll. I mean, you took in them foreigners, didn't you? Surely you'd do the same for us. I fear the situation is rather more complicated. While it is true that we accepted the Doman's petition for aid, that decision was a product of extraordinary circumstance. I sympathize deeply with your plight, but I pray understand that it is not possible for an organization of ours means to aid all who have been affected by the calamity. And so it is with great regret I must deny your request. But we got nowhere else to go. You're turning your back on us? If I might have a word. Titaro, is aught amiss? Ill tidings from Ulda, my lady. Alphino has been wounded. What? How? Is it serious? I cannot say for certain, but I fear it might be. According to the flames, the refugees started a riot. They went wild, apparently, lashing out at any and everyone. That can't be right. Why would they? They must have been provoked. The demonstration was meant to be peaceful. 7 Hills. Now the Blades have an excuse. They'll round us up and kill anyone who tries to resist. Antecedent, please. If you won't help us build a new life, at least help us keep the ones we've got. My lady? We are not ones to stand idly by and watch innocents suffer. However, until we know more the circumstances surrounding this riot, I am not certain what aid, if any, we can provide. If the authorities determine that the refugee is attacked without provocation, then those responsible will have to answer for their actions. How can you be so blind? Find Alphino quickly, and if he is in danger, or worse, I would have you and none other by his side. Thank you. Pray do not concern yourself with the matter we were discussing earlier. Ida and Papa Lima will see to it. Alphino is being treated at the Hourglass. Hurry, Saphrine. If I find out that he just has a little bitty paper cut, he's going to get more injured. All right, the hourglass. Yeah. Do 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 do. Oh.
Come, you must have gathered by now that Tataru is given to exaggeration. As you can see, I am quite well. Ul'dah, on the other hand, is not. This riot was anything but an isolated incident. There is a restlessness in the air. Tensions long simmering are at last threatening to boil over. Ul'dah is a nation infamous for the great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. The majority of the populace accepts this state of affairs because they believe that every man bears responsibility for his own lot in life. To an Ul'dan, money is the foremost, and some would say the only measure of a man's worth. Small wonder that the wealthiest wield the greatest influence. So where do the refugees fit into this social hierarchy? What place is there for those who fled Alamigo and the destruction of the Calamity? Plainly, there is none. They have no wealth, no power, and no worth. To the Ul'dan way of thinking, they may as well not exist. Choosing to ignore their existence, however, is patently not an option. General Rauban and the Sultana understand this, which is why they ordered the Immortal Flames to provide the refugees aid and succor. Yet none would dispute that the expenses incurred by this policy grow by the day, with no end in sight. This has prompted more and more Uldans to question their obligation to aid these worthless wanderers. While more and more refugees have come to resent their treatment at the hands of the sneering citizenry.
Just a powder keg ready to blow.
Lolorito's refusal to grant the Dolmens asylum bespoke a disdain for all refugees, an attitude shared by the rest of the monetarists. And you may be sure they make no effort to conceal their opinions. It was only a matter of time before the refugees united in protest. Nor is it any surprise that some among them would ultimately resort to violence. That the Immortal Flames should choose this of all occasions to engage in joint training exercises with the other Grand Companies. By the time they return, the situation may well have deteriorated beyond mending.
Yep. Everybody's come to a head. As I told you before, it was all but inevitable that an incident of this kind would eventually occur given the rising tensions with the Sultanate. Nevertheless, I have reason to believe that this particular riot may not have begun spontaneously. Have I piqued your curiosity? Good. Then you will accompany me to the Hall of Flames. I would hear what General Rauban has to say on the matter. Still treating me like his personal house pet. All right, yeah. There you are. Now's not a good time, Lieutenant Kanekura. My hands are full dealing with the refugees. Precisely the matter we wish to discuss, General. Elfino, back on your feet already? You may credit my swift recovery to your cryogens. My memories of the riot are still somewhat muddled. I trust you managed to regain control of the situation. Not entirely. We secured the city soon enough, but not before the unrest had spread to the surrounding territories. Pockets of resistance remain throughout Thanalan. We have sent what forces we can spare to root out the last of the belligerents, but progress is slow. They're damnable elusive. I can well imagine. Given that the majority of the refugees live outside the walls, it stands to reason that they would know the lay of the land. What I do not understand is how they came to be so well prepared. Before my little accident, I observed that several refugees were armed, not with butcher's knives or pitchforks, but with martial weaponry. I need hardly add that such equipment is costly. None can deny that tensions between Oldalan citizenry and refugee population have increased since the Domans were turned away. But would that motivate a starving man to purchase arms in lieu of food? I think not. And what of those who have not even a single guild to spell, who could not survive without the aid provided by the immortal flames? Surely they would sooner sell a weapon than bring it bear against their benefactors. Come to point. Very well. My point, General, is that this powder keg of discontent was not set alight by chance. These events were deliberately set in motion, and now order must be restored. That is my first duty. Until it is done, any investigation can wait. I do not have time to discuss this. My scouts will be returning anon. Ever the bull-headed one. The general is no fool. He keeps his own counsel, and with good cause. Were he to claim, without necessary proof, that these riots were instigated by outside forces, the monitorists would accuse him of attempting to shirk responsibility. After all, he and the Sultana have been most outspoken proponents of refugee aid. Regardless, they will face harsh criticism in the days ahead. Our allies may stumble upon the truth in time, but I have a far more faith in your ability, Saphrine. Therefore, I propose we conduct our own investigation independent of the authorities. To that end, I would have you make inquiries in the settlements suspected of harboring belligerents. Commander Swift will know which they are. He may balk at the request for such information, but I have no doubt that you can persuade him with your silver tongue. I, meanwhile, shall seek answers in my own way, after which we can regroup and share our findings. Well then, shall we? Okay, let's see what I can do about this. You look as though you have something to say, Lieutenant Kanekura. Do you? What you ask is no simple favor. Were such information fall into the wrong hands, the lives of countless soldiers will be at risk. Even so, there is wisdom in your words. An able individual, even one with ties to the flames, may be better suited to the task than a regiment. Very well. Brass Blades have reported suspicious activity in the vicinity of Lost Hope. It may be unrelated to recent events, but we doubt it. I suggest you begin by speaking with the Blades posted there. Alright, where are we going? Oh, we're going over there, to that encampment. Yes, yeah. Those refugees were pretty decently armed. And what brings you here, adventurer? A search for refugees? Well, then you come to the right place. Ah, you mean those refugees. Oh no, you won't find them here. Most of the people of Lost Hope come to accept their situation and are content to pass their days in peace and quiet. Outsiders have trouble understanding that, like that merchant who passed through recently. Gregarious fella, but awfully opinionated. Can't say I was sad to see him go. I didn't expect them to send you, Saphrine. I take it that means someone has read my report? The refugees who left the merchant have yet to return, and I am increasingly concerned that Sawaka's suspicions were correct. You haven't the foggiest of what I'm talking about, do you? Yeah, never mind. Speak with Zazawaka. He'll explain everything to you. Okay. Apparently, they're being ignored or just overwhelmed with information. Ah, don't hurt me. I'm not one of them. I beg your pardon? You're of the Flames, but you're not with the Flames? I see. If Leferic bid you speak to me, then I take it you've agreed to help? Jove be praised, because we haven't a moment to waste. Everyone knows that the Flames are on the march. The others have fallen on their fanatic spell, but not I. Promises of revolution, of retribution, of holding the ruling class to account and taking which is owed. A childish fantasy. I did everything I could to dissuade the others from leaving, but few would heed my words. Now that one of our idealists has returned, however, the madness of the merchant's plan is plain for all to see. Look beyond yonder tent and you'll understand why. Even now he babbles incoherently, so traumatized he is by the bloodshed he witnessed. Try as I might, I can make little sense of his words beyond the fact that he was not alone in surviving. Yet I've no doubt that the merchant will lead the remainder to their doom. I beg of you, find them before he does. Merchant just using pawns for his own agenda. What are you doing? Don't draw. Don't draw. Don't draw. Why didn't you run away with me? We could have escaped together. And you'd be here with me. Here to soothe me. Why? Why did we have to stay and leave me alone? Who are you? What do you want? It's true, I followed the merchant, and may God strike me down for my folly. What they will not give you, you must take, he said. When we asked how, he revealed a cache of weapons he had brought and implored us to seize control of our fates. I thought about running then and there, but the others were so excited, he split us into two groups, sent us off on our own. But when the Flames found out, we didn't know what to do. Our leader tried to parley with theirs, but then they started arguing, and then fighting. And then everyone was fighting, and the Flames were shouting and giving no quarter, and... Oh God, it's the other group. They're still out there. If we don't stop them, they'll be massacred like mine was. Yep. The other refugees are hiding in the caves of South Lost Hope, but approach them would be fruitless. They'd sooner call us agents of the Sultan and try to kill us than listen to reason. Why, the twins might even deign to do the deed themselves. A pox on all the bloody sellswords. They were supposed to train us to fight, but once he sent with us vanished during the struggle. Oh, if we only had never listened to that merchant's ridiculous claims. He said our cause was righteous and the gods would never suffer us to be defeated. Though if they were forced to confront reality, that is, challenge the twins in combat and show my brethren that the strongest warriors are no match for one woman, mayhap then they would agree to lay down their arms and renounce this plot. Okay. So we gotta beat up a bunch of refugees. Goody. Nope, they're in the cave. South of Lost Hope. Seven Hills, they found us. Everyone grab your gear and make for the rendezvous point. That's your game, is it? Sorry to disappoint you, lass, but we're more than willing to kill you ourselves. Next. Are we done here? Nope. Alright, now are we done? You beat him like it was nothing. Thal almighty, what are we gonna do now? Not get yourselves killed. That's for certain. Well, let that be a lesson, kids. Don't trust shady merchants selling you gold. You returned. Did you find my brethren? What of the twins? What happened? I see. Well, you had no choice. Better that than a handful of them taking a beating from you than the lot getting butchered by the flames, I guess. Tell me, what did the merchant have to say when it was over? Huh? But where else could he be unless he went to Stone's Throw to recruit others? Oh, good. Finding more sheep for the slaughter. The merchant wished to approach the refugees of Stone's Throw, but was waiting until the flames withdrew their forces from the vicinity. Now that they have, there's nothing to stop him from continuing his work. How many more must perish in the pursuit of this futile cause? How many much more suffering must we endure before it ends? Find him, convince him to cease his mad quest. It will surely lead us to ruin. Alright, where... There it is. Right outside the main gate. Over by the area that you, mined copper, I believe. We are on Reap the Whirlwind. So I'm doing Shiva as well? Okay. Yeah, that's right. Alright. Do, 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 do. Have you seen my parents? They told me to stay here with the others. They they said they'd be back soon. It's been days. They left with a man from Ulda. The man said they were going to change everything, make it so that we could live inside the walls with everyone else. I liked it when he said that. I didn't like it when he talked about making the rich people pay. Everyone looked so angry, and I got scared. Say, miss, are you looking for someone? Let's find that troublemaker. You mean the man who left with my parents? But I don't know where he is. Wait! Look! Over there! I think that's him! Looking for more people to succor. Well, now, which one of these gullible fools shall be my next victim? You! Oh, shit. He's getting away. Go get him, miss. Alright. Let's go beat his ass. Where, oh, where did you go? Since you obviously aren't the mastermind, tell us your master's name. You again? Why are you pursuing me? Sedition, treason, revolution. That's preposterous. Who's filled your head with these lies? Refugees? The self-same refugees who terrorize the streets of Ul'dah? Huh. You have no evidence to prove your accusations? None. No, I will not accompany you to the Hall of Flames. You have no right to detain me. For the sake of argument, let's say I did do those things you claim. Surely you don't think I give a Kieran's arse about politics. This was business. Only business. Give it up, bud. Both know I'm not a one you want. However, if you agree to protect me, I swear I'll tell you everything. Well, that didn't last long. What's all the commotion? 7 hells. Tell the others to spread out and search the area. The killer may still be close. Hold, adventurer. I would know more of your relationship with this victim, as well as the events leading up to his death. This man was responsible for the recent riots. Mayhap we owe his murderer a debt of gratitude. In any case, it's obvious you're not one whom we wish to seek. Damn it. You may carry out with your investigation, Scion. Where are we going? Back to the flames. Okay. Well, that turned into a dead end. Probably should have chosen better phrasing for that. Crap. Just tying up loose ends, someone is. What news, Lieutenant Kanekura? Where's the merchant? Murdered? Damn it, oh, the 7th hell. He was not simply murdered, Lieutenant. He was silenced. Too many knew his face, and he was already to divulge his secrets. Do not despair, though. We may be closer to identifying the true orchestrator of these riots than you realize. Really? Go on. That one. Flame General left word that you were to proceed to the Fragrant Chamber as soon as you returned. He wished to discuss your recent discoveries as well as the results of his own investigation. Master Alphino has already been informed and should be waiting for you outside. Pray proceed to the Royal Promenade with all haste and speak with Bartholomew. So now the General's willing to divulge information. He was definitely keeping it close to his chest last time. Bo, 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 do, do, boom, boom. Oh, holy hell. We've been expecting you, madam. Please proceed inside. That was a short quote.
Commander Swift has kept us apprised of your recent activities. You've made great strides towards quelling the violence.
Despite our best efforts to determine what provoked this uprising, the truth continues to elude us. Have you uncovered aught which might shed some light on the mystery?
Hmm?
This information does not leave this room. The Syndicate's decision to reject the Doman refugees' appeal for asylum had lasting repercussions. A number of those displaced by the calamity claimed it was proof of a policy of discrimination. Together with a group of Alamegan refugees, they organized a series of demonstrations to protest against the Sultanate. Demonstrations which became heated, but did not descend into violence. Until a certain incident served as a call to arms.
A unit of brass blades sent to supervise a demonstration loosed arrows upon unarmed protesters.
Oh, shit.
It was this atrocity which prompted the refugees to take up arms. I need not tell you what followed.
We assumed at first that the attack was born of a miscommunication. When emotions run high, they happen. But suspicions were raised regarding the unit's commanding officer, whom I ordered interrogated. Sure enough, our fears were soon confirmed. The dog confessed that a merchant had offered him coin to give the order. A merchant in the employ of Teleji Adeleji.
Of course, it's that Lalafell.
Teleji Adeleji. But he spoke in favor of the Doman's cause, and has ever seemed sympathetic towards the refugees' plight. Why would he do such a thing?
Know you of the Cartano Reclamation Bill? It is a proposal to annex the Cartano Flats so that refugees may establish permanent settlements.
When last I looked, that was disputed territory.
Called Frontlines.
Aye. Some might even call it a battlefield.
That's one way to describe it.
The destruction wrought by Bahamut was greatest at the Cartano Flats. That much is common knowledge. What is less well known is that his rampage laid bare ancient Alagon ruins, of which no record existed. There are certain differences of opinion as to how these ruins should be handled, which is why each nation maintains a military presence in the region to this day. Yet differ though we may, we are still allies. Therefore, in the interest of preserving the Eorzean alliance, we have reached an agreement. Any conflict which may arise during the course of military exercises in the region shall have no bearing on relations between our nations.
Military exercises.
In full knowledge of this delicate state of affairs, Teleji Adeleji proposed the Cartano Reclamation Bill. A shameless, bloody ruse which stands to benefit him in but one conceivable way. If successful, he will gain control over the disputed territory under the guise of assisting in the resettlement effort. And you can be sure he'll build an orphanage next to every Alagon ruin.
The man would threaten the unity of the Eorzean alliance and risk countless lives for personal gain.
walks a path all his own, independent of any faction and beholden to none of his fellows on the Syndicate.
By inciting the less fortunate to violence, he hopes to convince others that the Cartano Reclamation Bill is the only viable solution. His sympathy for the plight of the Domans was not but posturing to gain credibility with the refugees. Of that there can be no doubt.
Yep.
Forgive me, but what could possibly motivate Teleji Adeleji to go to such lengths? What is so special about these ruins that he would risk his position on the Syndicate, and, most likely, charges of treason against the Sultanate?
Power.
Omega.
Or that.
Pardon?
An Oligon monstrosity, not unlike the Ultima weapon. Mayhap larger, we know not. It has yet to be fully excavated. Oligon inscriptions indicate that it was created to fell Bahamut himself. If accurate, it might explain why Nail Van Darnus chose to bring the Red Moon down upon the Cartano Flats. Given the ends he went to ensure Eorzea's annihilation, destroying the one weapon which could stay the Elder Primal may well have seemed like good sense.
When first I bore witness to the power of the Ultima weapon, I doubted the evidence of my senses. And now you tell me there is another such weapon, one which could contend with Bahamut. Bahamut!
Yep.
Aye, we were skeptical ourselves. Truth be told, until the Ultima weapon's existence came to light, we thought the inscription had been mistranslated.
At present, Omega is more akin to a fossil than a tool of war, having long since ceased to function. As such, its true potential cannot accurately be gauged. However, if someone were to restore it, as the Garleans did the Ultima weapon, I have little doubt that he would wield untold power.
Power enough to subjugate Uldar like as not, and the rest of Eorzea besides, which is doubtless why Teleji Adeleji yearns to have it.
That he should aspire to world domination. He who has ever walked 2 paces behind Lord Lolorito in matters of commerce.
'Tis in acknowledgement of his own limitations that he seeks this power. Woe betide us all should we allow him to have it.
Pray waste no time chasing rats. Only a fool would believe that secrets can be kept in Uldar.
It would seem the implications of the Sultanate's refugee problem are rather more far-reaching than we assumed.
Oh, that's not good. Definitely interesting lore-wise on how they introduce front lines and justify all the PvP. And of course, the Lord bomb drop of Omega. I should be glad to know the truth, and yet the thought of all this chaos was produced by one man's lust for power sickens me. How do you think they intend to hide the existence of Omega from the Scions? That they've even felt the need to do so is most troubling. It would be in our best interest to learn more of the military activities in the disputed territories. Fortunately, you're already well positioned to do so, Lieutenant Kanekuro. Pray keep us informed of any developments in Cartano. Yeah, that's not likely to happen. Begone, whelp. This is no place for children. I'm sorry. I'm impressed you actually got all this way in, Uldar. I was looking for you, miss. You said you were looking for the man who left with my parents? You know this girl? So he visited Stone's Throw as well. I see. Did you find the man? Were my parents with them? They were not, I'm afraid. However, I can think of several places they might be. If you like, we can go and look for them together. Really? You'll help me look, mister? Of course, but first I must needs finish speaking with my friend. She's telling me a secret, you see, and so no one else is allowed to listen. Mayhap you could wait for me by the pillow over there? We require but a moment. Okay, mister, I'll be waiting. I'll take her to the quicksand. Maybe Momodi will know what to do. A legion of Garleans, an aether-starved primal. Even dealing with all Asians would be preferable to this charade. Sometimes I fear Menphilia is too ambitious. We rush hither and yon in response to threats that as they arise, without concern for the strain it places on our limited resources and ourselves. Mayhap the time for a change has come. Saphrine, this is Menphilia. I know that this is sudden, but I must ask you to return to Revenant's Toll with all due haste. The situation in the Twelveswood has taken a turn for the worse. I will explain the detail once you arrive. The Twelveswood? Then the primal threat she spoke of before has been confirmed? I received no reports of Ixel activity, which leaves the Sylphs. Go, Saphrine. You know as well as I, the appearance of a primal takes precedence over all else. Oh, and when you arrive, do inform the antecedent that while I am grateful for her concern, she need not fear for my safety. I am more capable of protecting myself. Okay. Back to the stones. And I do believe that we are going to be dealing with a little Evan. There we go. Do 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 do. It is a relief to see you healthy and hale, Saphrine. Latest news from Old Da was most disturbing. Clearly, the only injury Alphino suffered was to his ego. Doubtless it will heal ere long. The other scions will need to be present for this meeting. If you are ready to begin, I will summon them now. Okay. Yep. It's time to face the beard. Thank you for responding with my call with such haste. Rest assured, I could not have summoned you if it were not urgent. To business, then. I have received some disturbing news from the Order of the Twin Adders. They have reason to believe that the Sylphs may have called forth their revered guardian, the Primal Ramu. I'm sorry, may have? Then it is not certain? The Elder Seatseer informs us that the elementals themselves murmur of the Lord of Levin's return to the forest. The Sylphlands, however, display no signs of undue commotion. Forgive me, antecedent, but the fact need not contradict that the element's testimony. Unlikely his is more bellicose compeers, Gruda, and so on. Ramu is reputed to act only in defense of his children. I imagine he would soon make his presence known if there were any foolish enough to directly endanger the Sylphs or their territory. The abruptness of this development concerns me. Were we not keeping a close watch on the touched ones and their movements? If preparations for a summoning ritual were indeed underway, 'twould surely not have escaped your notice. Oh, it didn't. I'm pretty sure it was going to happen, just not this soon. I beg your pardon. You foresaw this eventuality and did not prevent it? I told Papa Limo. I suppose I could have reported things to Minfilia earlier, but there honestly wasn't much we could do, except wait and see. You know how the Sylphs feel about people poking around in their territory. They already sent him in Ramu right after the calamity, but that was because the Garleans came trampling through the forest. And so long as Castor Morianus stands, the Sylphs cannot be blamed for wishing to have their guardian deity on hand. In short, Ida and I are in agreement. The actions over the forest folk were inevitable and unavoidable. And I maintain that observation would have remained the best policy had it not been for a sudden influx of strangers into the Black Shroud. That, alas, we did not foresee. By all accounts, the recent violence in Ul'dah drove a number of refugees to seek safety under the concealing canopy of the trees. 'Tis like that the Sylphs perceived this panicked migration as yet another invasion, and quickened their efforts to summon their god. I am put in mind of Titan and the kobolds. Once again, it is the affairs of men which have paved the way for Primal's coming. Indeed, one could not help but wonder what manner of place Erezer would be without the civilizing influence of mankind. Be that as it may, this regrettable development does afford us a unique opportunity. Saphrine, through your dealings with the Sylphs of Little Solus, you once succeeded in preventing an untimely conflict with Gridania. I wonder, might one who has treated with the Sylphs so fruitfully in the past not achieve similar success with their patron deity? If Ramu can be convinced of her intentions, may be the first step to breaking the cycle of primal summoning. A fond hope. Were such a thing possible, we would not have been at war with Beastkim since time immemorial. But maybe this time we can. Let us continue this discussion anon. We must first needs consult with the nation most affected by Ramu's presence. The Elder Seatseer has requested your personal involvement, Saphrine. Pray report to Commander Helix at the Adder's Nest as soon as you are able. Steel yourself for the worst. While I hope for a peaceful resolution to this matter, experience suggests that your meeting with the Lord 11 will prove less than amicable. In such an event, your fellow Scions will of course lend you whatever support you require. Damn. All right. To Gridania. So the Sylphs were left to their own devices and summoned the massive beard. Goody. You're the one I want to speak with. Yeah. Saphrine of the Scions, your arrival has been most anticipated. The appearance of a primal has ever cause for alarm and unease. Though my men stand ready for eventuality, I know of none more qualified than you to snuff out this threat. Indeed, I would have you do without delay. The elder seats here, however, would speak with you first. She is of the opinion that your diplomatic, rather than martial, skills may serve our cause better. I will leave further explanation to our learned leader. Pray make your way to Nufika's altar. The conjurer in attendance will admit you to the Lotus Stand. Alright. So now we go over to the Conjurer's Guild. And use a little gateway. The Scions have already arrived, madame. May I show you in? It's almost like when we met Kublai Khan and dealt with his king.
Scions of the Seventh Dawn, on behalf of the people of Gridania, I bid you welcome. Your presence is of great comfort to us all in these days of uncertainty. I summoned you here to share tidings of a most urgent nature. But a short while ago, the great elemental spoke, and his voice was clarion in its intensity. Ramu is returned unto the forest.
And she seems way too happy about that.
Scarce had his words ceased to echo in mine ears when we were visited by an emissary from Little Solace. Our guest informs us that the Sylphs, too, have sensed the presence of the Lord of Levin. Though his exact whereabouts remain unknown, we may safely assume that the Primal was summoned within the heart of the Sylphlands. Unlike the other Primals you have encountered, Lord Ramu is no raging avatar of destruction. He is revered as much for his wisdom as his strength, serving as both arbiter and guardian to his children. Given that we and the Sylphs found a way to share the Twelveswood, it is my hope that this sagely immortal will be amenable to reason, and that conflict may be avoided. Blessed as you are with the power of the Echo, you are one of the few among us who may commune with a primal without fear of influence. I would ask, therefore, that you represent us in this most delicate of negotiations. The Twelveswood has suffered enough. Upon this, we and the Sylphs, and I would venture Lord Ramu himself, are in perfect accord. Let us not endanger our shared home by engaging in unnecessary hostilities. Dear friend, I beseech you, safeguard the peace which exists between our peoples. You have my thanks. Pray make for Little Solace, then. A member of the Order of the Twin Adder awaits you there. He will advise you on how to find the Lord of Levin. An ill wind blows through the forest. Yet, it is not only the Twelveswood that flinches at its coming. All the lands of Eorzea shiver in dread anticipation. Have care.
Uh-huh. Oh, that was interesting. And we got kicked out. Awesome. Alright. So heading over to the East Shroud. Could hit the Aetheryte, but I'm just not really in it right now. We'll take the long way. Let's see, we're already one in. Trial might take a moment. So this might end up being a short one. I was thinking of hitting up the Shiva cycle, but that might be best to save for later. Saphrine of the Scions, I was told to expect you. I understand you go to treat with Primal Ramu himself? An inevitable task, but one for which I know no doubt you are well suited. I have been told that your fellow Scions are conducting an investigation in the areas as we speak. That we might ascertain the location of where the Lord Levin might be found. I would ask that you abide here until they return with their findings. Want to keep me at bay, eh? I was told that a messenger would be sent as soon as your fellow Scions finish their investigation. I do not imagine it will take much longer. Oh, crap, here we go. This one returns and returns with good tidings. Wise ones have finished searching, and they have wisely identified the precise location where the touched ones summoned Lord Ramu. Your timing is impeccable, my fluttery friend. Might you be so kind as to escort this good woman to her fellow Scions? This one will... It would be this one's pleasure, Walking One. Please, please come to this one. Oh, okay. Do 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 do. Wise ones have ventured deep, deep within Sylphlands. These ones must proceed carefully and keep an eye out for touched ones. All right. There's a lot of touched ones around here. This one is most sorry, but this one can go no further. Draw too close to Lord Ramu, and this one may turn mean and nasty like touched ones. So this one must say farewell for now. Walking ones will find wise ones not far from here, to the south. Go in safety, Walking One. Yeah, we don't need any more tempered. To the south. Oh, that's a fun gate. So, it is actually you. I am relieved. For a moment, I thought you were dealing with another one of those confounded self-tricksters. I swear, with them wreaking havoc and their skin-changing magics, It's a wonder I'm able to finish taking my measurements. Yes, it was quite the ordeal. You should have seen the look on Ashtola's face when the one impersonating you suddenly showed up. That's quite enough, Papalimo. My apologies. It's not like me to ramble so. At any rate, as I was saying, I have finished measuring the etheric activity in the area, and I am pleased to say that I have reached an indisputable conclusion, to wit, that Ramu was called forth in the vicinity of the Sylph's aetheryte. Come, Saphrine, the Lord of Levin waits. All that effort to constantly confirm that he has arisen. Oops. Shit. Get over there. There we go. No. Oh, this is not good.
Nora betrays thee, servant of hiding.
Ow.
Thou art the bringer of light, bane of Ifrit, Titan, Garuda, and Leviathan.
And good King Mogul Mog the 12th.
I am Ramu, guardian of the children of the forest. Thou tramplest upon sacred soil, bringer of light. By what right doth man intrude in this sanctuary of the sylphs? The Gridanians proffer peace? Their words are born of delusion, thine offer an insult.
Ouch.
Thou speakest of harmony, yet carest naught for my children's desires. They did but wish to dwell beneath these boughs in solitude. Yet even that was too much to ask of man. Thus did they turn to me for succor. The sentence I pronounce upon thy kind is just. Redanian or Garlean, it matters not. The good intent of one excuseth not the misdeeds of the other.
Little extreme.
Conflict hath brought naught but anguish and misery unto the forest. All blame doth lie with the darkness that resideth in the breast of man. Whence sprung this calamitous seed? In the beginning no such duality existed, for light and dark given form when man was born. It would explain much, not least why strife and sorrow follow ever in thy wake. Thou canst not deny the urgings of thine own nature. Knowing that thy mere presence here portendeth tragedy, wilt thou persist in this pretense of peacemaking?
Hmm?
Thou bearest the crystal which I bestowed upon thy wayward charges, that they should entrust so precious a gift to thee.
Yep.
Thou standest apart from thy kin. Thou art the bringer of light, aye. But there is something more in thee. Very well. I shall consider thy proposal, shouldst thou survive my trial.
If thou wouldst champion the cause of harmony, I must have proof that thou art fit to play the role. Wither mine ire, and prove to me thereby that thou hast strength enough to stay the darkness which threateneth to consume thee. Yet if thou shouldst be found wanting, know that all men shall perish in the storm of my judgment. Come to me, bringer of light. I shall await thee on the field of battle.
Urianger, it is rare indeed to find you so far from a tome.
The Lord of Levin himself. Never till this day had I looked upon his visage, save in painted renderings made faint by time. Ever shall this scene remain etched in my mind's eye. Beg pardon, my lady. I must beg thine aid on a point of research. If thou art resolved to face Lord Ramu, I would ask thy leave to observe the event.
Okay. Knowing him, he's got some ulterior agenda of motive going on. All right. Scoot over, little one. I gotta take down Grandpa. I mean, he makes a valid point that the forest is always put into trouble by the conflicts of man, but lumping all men together in the same category is a little extreme. Alright, this will probably take a moment. And I don't see any reason to mess with these little ones while we're here. So I just do some little maintenance left and right. I can put that on, even though it's not going to matter at this level. Alright, I got those. Yeah, it should. Ah, right. Today is Saturday. So we got 7 hours till the drawing? Yeah. Let's see. There's only 7 quests left. 6 quests left. But with the trial, it might take a decent time to get all that done with, so I may save the Shiva arc for next time. Because even though these quest counts are small, it is post-ARR MSQs so they can get lengthy in the cutscenes. And I think, actually, it might be after this one that we get Urianje's PowerPoint presentation. We also have her, I think she's going to show up in the Shiva arc. So yeah, we have her to deal with. So yeah, I may end this one early. Considering that the last two went over, this wouldn't be too bad. Plus the fact that I am still drained from earlier today. Alright, let's see how everything is doing. Alright, 116. Yep. Hopefully Twitch doesn't screw up again. Oh, no, not what I wanted. There we go. That time's not too bad for a DPS. What the heck is that saying? Okay. Yeah, that doesn't matter. How are we doing on repairs? That's pretty good. Really like the fact that they gave us that new repair mechanic for 7.4 coming up. In, what is it, 2 days? Are we at 13? So Saturday's 14th. Yeah, 16th, Tuesday. We finally get 7.4. Do, 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 do. You know, normally when I go into roulettes for trials, We usually get hit up with a lot of ARR stuff. It's kind of strange that nobody is doing those roulettes today. Do, 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 do. Owie. Oh, looks like a fate just popped up over there. What's that one? What the heck is that one? Looks like somebody's actually doing it. Or it's one that just plays by itself. Yeah, it's just playing by itself. Sometimes they do that. Good example is the one right outside Camp Dragonhead Southgate, where the guards take on the goobies and do pretty decently, honestly. And that looks like a player. Yeah, that is definitely some machinist glam. Huh. Well, they're gonna handle that. This is gonna take a moment. Do 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 do. Wow, this is definitely going to take a moment. Kind of impressed. And yeah, I don't think this can be, yeah, trials at this level can't be duty supported or trusted, so we just do the waiting. There we goes. And hopefully it'll be this one. There we go. Alright, let's deal with Grandpa. Half man, half beard, half beard. Wrong button. I would love it if you tanks decide who's in charge. Jesus. Well, I'm eating that one. Alright, someone's getting chaotic. So if I get the circle, we'll stay. If not, I'll get the hell out. Ad should be coming up soon. There we go. Give me a little space. Next. And we should get his ult right here. Owie. That was bright. Alright, and he's gonna Rolling Thunder 2 people. Which means they gotta pick up balls. I see at least one person knows what they're doing. Alright, you got him? Good. Where's that last one? You. Take care of this little annoying thing for now. 1, 2, and 3. Shit. And that was wasted. 10%. And you can call it. Nope. It was worth a shot. And there goes the old beard. Well, you're the last one there, so you can have it. Hopefully he judged us worthy.
I have taken thy measure, bringer of light. And I judge thee a worthy champion. The task of excising the sin that hath taken root in man's heart is thine. Shrink not from employing thy strength in service to the forest and the wider realm beyond. Like hungering shadows do the enemies of harmony gather, and meekness will but feed them. If man is to be delivered from the dark, it shall be by thy guiding light alone. Stray not from the path, for if thou dost, thy people shall be truly lost.
Thou hast slain the Lord of Levin. A regrettable act, but a necessary one.
So what are you plotting?
In witnessing thy struggle, a truth hath been revealed unto me. If I mistake not, it may yet prove a chink in the eternal armor of the Assyrians. But let us conclude our present business. I shall expound upon my findings at the Rising Stones anon.
All right. That's said and done. So let's let the sylphs know that their big daddy is no more. For the time being, at least. Saphrine, you've returned. Dare I ask how Ramun received your visit? It was a shocking encounter. He challenged you to a test of arms. It is well, then, that you have some experience in such matters. The peoples of both Gridania and Little Solus will be relieved to hear that the Lord Levin has accepted you as the forest champion of peace. You have performed a monumental duty this day, Saphrine. The Elder Seatseer must be informed of your deeds at once. Elder Seatseer wished to hear of your experiences firsthand. Pray, return to Gridania and make direct for the Lotus Stand. The conjurer at Nofika's altar will be expecting you. Farewell, Saphrine. Yeah. Let's go this way. Where? Okay. Awesome. You're not who I want to speak with. You are. Sending back to Old Gridania. Bum bum. And we'll head over to the Conjurers Guild. And then go back into the altar. Stand, whatever.
You are returned. I am informed
Shit.
that your efforts to negotiate a peace with Lord Ramu ended in conflict.
Wrong one.
Pray tell me, what befell?
He did.
Ramu made trial of you? I fear there is truth to his claim. It is the darkness within us that attracts the darkness without. It cannot be denied that misfortune follows man. For evidence, one need only look to the conflict brewing in Cartano, or to the rising flood of refugees. Our shared struggle against the Empire should have served to seal our union. Yet the ties which bind the Alliance strain under the weight of gross self-interest. As the scars of the calamity begin to fade, so too does our sense of common purpose. Yet now is scarce the time to forget our shared responsibility. If this new-sprung realm is to survive beyond its infancy, it must needs be nurtured by all. Eorzea must be as one. Yet I fear that dream is still far off. On behalf of the people of Gridania and the elementals both, I thank you for all that you and your fellow scions have done. Full oft have I been compelled to look to you for aid of late, and offered all too little in return. As leader of this nation, I shall endeavor to prove a more worthy ally to your cause henceforth.
Hmm.
Lord Ramu has departed, yet the keening of this ill wind grows no less insistent. Voices of the forest, pray speak and I shall listen. What unseen evil begets this unease in my heart?
Okay. Thus ends another daunting mission, eh, Saphrine? I had hoped Lord Ramu could be persuaded with words alone, but nonetheless, I can only admire the adroitness which you responded to the Primal's sudden challenge. And it seems Urianger too was pleased with the outcome. What say you, Saphrine? Shall we gather back at the Rising Stones and ponder the lessons of the day? I don't want to go to class. That's for you Charlian scholars, not me. Yep, wrong way. All the way back here again. Welcome back, Saphrine. Word of your momentous encounter with the Lord of Ramu precedes you. I would faint share news of my own, but Urianger's discoveries must take precedence. Upon witnessing your defeat of the Lord 11, our learned companion was struck with profound insight regarding the nature of the Ascian's immortality. Let us assemble and discuss his observations together? Hmm?
If everyone is ready, let us begin. Urianger, the floor is yours.
As all here assembled now know, in its final hours as our Order's headquarters, the Waking Sands did play host to a most unexpected visitor. I speak of the Ascian clad in white, Elidibus. Unwelcome though his presence was, his words that day did serve to confirm a truth long suspected, that the Ascians are eternal beings, to whom physical destruction is as a temporary inconvenience.
In the intervening time, Urianger and I have striven to discover a means by which the Ascians might more permanently be slain.
And 'tis my belief that we have found the thread that will allow us to unravel the twisted skein of their existence. In the moments prior to Leviathan's most recent manifestation, the Sahagin elder who summoned him was observed to undergo some manner of ascension. The etheric readings taken by Y'shtola at the time of this transfiguration have proven most enlightening.
The disruption to the flow of ether was sudden and dramatic. So tangible was the agitation, I scarce had need of my goggles.
The significance of Y'shtola's readings might better be understood in the context of mine own, taken at the instant of the Lord of Levin's demise. Unlike the Primal, the Sahagin was not subject to etheric dissipation.
Before discussing our new discoveries, it may benefit us all to recall what we know of etheric behavior. Let us begin at what some might call the end. When we who dwell in the material realm die, our spirits dissolve into the flow of ether and are returned to the ethereal realm. In turn, the restless energy which suffuses that plane streams back into our world, giving rise to new life.
'Tis as the heavens did decree, the way of all mortal souls. Twixt this world and the next do the ethereal currents swirl, bearing the very essence of life. Thus doth the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth continue unabated.
But
Primals behave somewhat differently. In order to manifest and then maintain a physical presence in this realm, they must consume vast quantities of ether, most often in the form of crystals. Though they may seem to live, their flesh is but ether given shape. Thus, a defeated primal leaves behind no broken corpse. Rather, the essence of its form seeps back into the land whence it came, and the energy of its shattered spirit is called back to the ethereal realm.
And there it waiteth, till next the prayers of the faithful do draw it forth from the sea of ether, to take their offering of crystals and make for itself a new body.
hmm?
Which brings us on to the third group, the so-called immortals. They exist in a manner all their own.
Quite. Even as the Sahagin elder fell to the Admiral's musket shot, I witnessed the release of an ethereal cloud, which immediately took possession of a nearby minion.
A soul that dissipateth not upon the death of the flesh.
The secret of life everlasting, and in the claws of a Sahagin no less. But I wonder, what would happen to one of these obstinate spirits should there be no suitable host for it to claim?
If mortal death entails a return to the ethereal realm, it seems doubtful that the soul of an immortal would venture there.
Nay, it merely withdraweth the distance, unto the shore of the ethereal sea, perchance, but no further.
Yes, it exists in neither this realm nor the next, abiding instead in the space that lies between them. The Ascians took control of Thancred by means of a crystal of darkness, an artifact which, if our theories are correct, serves as a gateway to the place I have just described.
I was hoping people had forgotten about that.
Oh no.
I am sorry, my friend.
We're gonna keep reminding you of
For
that.
mercy, the weary road of our research hath brought us unto an answer.
The Sahagin ascended to an immortal state, but he did not possess a crystal of darkness through which to flee this realm. Thus was he consumed by Leviathan. If we could entrap the spirits of defeated Ascians in like manner, and thereby deny them resurrection...
Therein lieth the path to victory. Thou art most perceptive, my lady. Only when we have trapped the bodiless soul within an ethereal prison can we hope to defeat its unnatural constancy. Thus might even an eternal paragon be consigned to oblivion.
These feats are, of course, far easier said than done. At present, we lack a viable means to entrap and extinguish an Ascian soul. Yet, I believe it to be possible. The pieces of the puzzle lie before us. We have but to put them together.
I will depart at once to convene with the sages of Sharlayan. Together shall we divine the steps by which our goals may be achieved.
I have the utmost faith in you, Archon.
Beg pardon, antecedent, but I would raise one final matter. Even now, a Sharlayan survey party seeketh to ascertain the fate of the students of Baldessian. Their findings shall soon be known to us. Though you harbor feelings of dread, I bid you surrender not to sorrow, but abide instead in hopeful prayer.
I shall, Archon. Thank you.
And that is the statue of the one true God. Damn it. Ramuh's acquaintance. God, I said no. Inferno, Vortex, Crag, Whirl, Levin, all have now been humbled by the Bringer of Light. The limitless power of man. Heidelin's servant grows mightier by the day. Yet she prospers at great cost to her mistress, whose strength is all too finite. 7 times have the masses survived the rejoining, but their souls are grown weak and wane. Yet even as it enervates, the ardor empowers our master. All that remains is to nurture the strength of the gifted, to forge the final key. And that is the task to which we bend our every effort. Divine seeds were ever wont to quicken the Eorzean fertile soil, We need only lead men to the field, and their eager hands shall a new deity arise. That which was shattered shall be made anew, and the one true God shall come again. All right. So that was Arianje's PowerPoint, and a good hint as to how we're going to deal with the Ascians once we figure out how to do what he planned and talked about. Now the matter of Ramuh has, for the present, been put to rest. There is something I would show you, Saphrine. It is a letter of thanks signed by the leaders of the Eorzean Alliance, acknowledging the Scion's tireless service to the realm. It mentions in particular the names of all the defeated primals: Ifrit, Titan, Garuda, Good King Magomog XII, the Leviathan, and now Ramuh. Needless to say, there is only one among our number to have faced them all. And though these words of gratitude were addressed to our order as a whole, I feel that they were meant for you above all others. I too must offer my heartfelt thanks for all that you have done. In the course of your duties, you have never once failed to answer my call to arms. You are a true hero, Saphrine, and Eorzea is much safer for your presence. Pray, do not misunderstand me. I said safer, not safe. I know only too well that we can ill afford to lower our guard. The Ascians may be relied upon to sow chaos in this realm until such as they are forced to stop. Why, even without their encouragement, you may be assured that man would foment strife on his own. And that is to say nothing of the beast tribes. Unless we learn to live in harmony, the primals too will return to plague us again and again and again. And yet, despite all this, your deeds serve to inspire people, to give them hope for a better tomorrow, and there is no greater gift. That we have the courage to strive for what might otherwise seem an impossible peace, we owe it in no small part to the dangers you have faced on our behalf and the people you have won over to our cause in doing so. Oh, shit. And there is no greater gift, now blessed. Shit. Screw that one. Of the sylphs of Little Solus who wish not conflict, of the Alamegans and Domans who stand with us, determined to halt the dreaded march of the Empire. And there is Sid and the Fellowship of Noah, racing to unlock the mysteries of ancient Alag that we might be spared the horror of another Ultima weapon. Of course, when speaking of our greatest allies, we must not forget those closest to us, by which I mean our fellow Scions. Thanks to their many and varied talents, our order is uniquely equipped to combat the far-reaching corruption of the Ascians, and combat it we shall. Your enthusiasm is truly heartwarming, antecedent. Given our embarrassing wealth of allies, I trust it will not inconvenience you duly if I absent myself for a time. Alphina, I take it troubles in Unda no longer require your attention? There are yet some rumblings of discontent, but the air of simmering violence is largely dissipated. 'Tis to report such that I stand before you now. That, and to speak with you concerning the new organization we discussed. Ah, I have a message for you from the, you're called the refugee girl? The one whose parents were missing? They were found unharmed. She wishes me to pass on her thanks. Why, Alphino, am I to understand you made an effort to remember the poor girl's name? I am looking forward to reading all about her in your report. I do hope you left nothing out. Saphrine, you may have been away from Revenant's Toll for some time now, I believe. Might I suggest that you put affairs of the realm to one side for the moment and take this opportunity to reacquaint yourself with the town? Which reminds me, one of the Doman children recently inquired as to your whereabouts. Yozan was his name. I believe he has some small matter he wishes to share with you. Why not oblige him with a visit? Uh-huh. And what did that little troublemaker get up to this time? Are 2 in? Oh, wait, he's over here. Look, it's Miss Saphrine. She's back from her adventures. We heard you were fighting primals, and there's some sort of strongest enemy you could have ever faced. I wish I could have seen you in battle. Anyway, we all want to be heroes too, so we finally formed our very own Doma Adventurers Guild to protect all the Domans. Oh, do you think you could train us today, Miss Saphrine? Maybe you could show us how you fought the primals? What's all this commotion, then? Mr. Boulder, Mr. Colliet, did you know Miss Saphrine is back? So it would seem. Welcome home, Miss Saphrine. My companion and I but recently became full members of the Scions, and I believe proper introductions have yet to be made. I am known as Hoary Boulder, and this bookish fellow is Colliet. Though we remain largely unproven as adventurers, we have taken it upon ourselves to instruct Doman younglings in the art of combat. I told you before, Mr. Boulder, we are not younglings anymore. We are adventurers. We were just asking Miss Saphrine if she could give us some special training. I think we're ready to hunt monsters alongside her, don't you? Well, you've certainly been diligent with your drills, but I'm afraid the fiends of Mordona are still ever so slightly too dangerous for you. I have a counter-proposal. What if I were to cross swords with Saphrine? A demonstration of skill at arms, if you will. Alright. If I didn't know better, and I do, I'd say you're immediately seeking to test yourself against legend. Oh, well, mayhaps I am. But what matters the motive when the children stand to learn so much from the lesson? What say you, Saphrine? Would you consent to spar with me? Hooray! We're gonna have a tournament! Come on, everyone. We must prepare our gear for an outing. That's a little close. Do try not to disappoint them, huh? Have faith, Colonet. I shall summon every last ounce of my strength to make this a worthy contest. The fields to the east of town should prove suitable for our purpose. I very much look forward to our boat. All right. Gotta have a little levity, I take it. You said to the east, right? Yep. Down here in the shell of the old airship. 'Twas good of you to agree to this, Saphrine. I trust you are ready to begin? 'Cause it is time for your duty. Very well, let us not keep the younglings waiting any longer. Alright, are you certain that you wish to fight her alone? That is Saphrine you face. What better way to test my mettle? Pray allow me to attempt the first round unaided. After all, 'twas this hero's legend that led me to the Scions to begin with. Without Saphrine to inspire my efforts, I would not be half the warrior I am today. Your point is well made, but remember, this is for the children's sake as well as your own. Should it appear the contest will end too swiftly, I shall add my spells to your blade work. Hello, you haven't begun yet, have you? Oh, that was Ida. Ida? What? Who are all these people? When I heard about your sparring match, I could totally told everyone I could find. Thought you could use a crowd to cheer you on. Yes, and there was more to come. When I mentioned Saphrine's name, the reaction was quite enthusiastic. Why, my own popularity seems but a sickly shade in comparison. You best claim victory, bringer of light. Your burgeoning reputation is at stake. Well, our teacher won't be so easily. He's a master swordsman. You can win, Master Boulder. Very well. We shall soon see. On your guard. Nope, we're already in combat. Fuck. That was fast. Nope, you still want more. Oh, crap. Of course he had to invuln. And that's the game. You have bested me. I yield. That was incredible. She beat them both at the same time. We knew you couldn't lose, Saphrine. None can defeat the guardian of Eorzea. Now I see why they sent you to deal with the primals. I have much work to do if I'm ever to attempt the same. Anyway. Impressive as always, Saphrine. 'Tis a pleasure to witness the spectacle of your martial prowess. And judging by the smiles on these faces, they too appreciate the hard-won strength that keeps the perils of this realm at bay. Guardian of Eorzea. Yes, that is a most fitting title. Do you recall when we first met? 'Twas at the memorial service for the Battle of Cartano, and definitely not in a cart that was bound for Ul'dah. At that time, I was yet attempting to understand this land of Eorzea. I sought to grasp the reason why grandfather willingly sacrificed himself to protect it. I shall speak plainly. My initial impressions were less than favorable. Dire problems abound, and yet the effort I saw expended towards their solution was haphazard and half-hearted. I thought Eorzeans a foolish and childish people. Considering the shambles their home was in, I would not have been surprised if some had chosen to swear allegiance to Gaius and the order he proposed to enforce. The legatus' single-minded military invasion precluded any such switching of loyalties, of course. Were it not for the desire to continue grandfather's legacy, I too would have abandoned this realm to its fate long ago. The threats were too many, the nation too self-involved and unstable. "'Twas you who convinced me that the salvation of Eorzea was possible. 'Twas you who taught me, through countless acts of bravery, that what my grandsire sought to preserve was not the land, nor its history, nor any single nation. It was the people. These wonderful, oft infuriating, stubborn people that suffered a blow after terrible blow, only to drag themselves back to their feet to face another day. Though he never put such feelings into words, I believe grandfather's admiration for this inextinguishable courage grew into a fervent wish. A wish to aid Eorzea and its inhabitants in charting a course for the future. A wish that has now become my own. I, too, will endeavor to take up the mantle of Guardian of Eorzea and champion these people who toil towards a better world. Our cause, however, is not a simple one. The troubles that plague us are of a scale that cannot be solved by the scions of the Seventh Dawn alone. No, what is needed to tackle the root of the primal threat and effectively counter the schemes of the Ascians is a new, expanded organization that operates beyond the limits of nations and borders. If you would aid me in building such an organization, then pray let us continue the discussion back within the walls of the Rising Stones. All right. Let's go back to the stones one more time. Not that we ever stop coming here. Do 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 do. Oops. Thank you for coming, Saphrine. The world shifts and alters, and we, my friend, must ever be one step ahead of the chaos. What I propose is the formation of a new organization, a group that shall pave the way for a truly united Eorzea. Pray forgive me if I tread over old ground, but I would first speak of the grand plan. Since the advent of the seventh astral era, the leaders of the three nations have been deliberating over an accord that seeks to bring the disparate forces of Eorzea together into a single entity. A realm-wide grand company, if you will. The military might of such an institution would be drawn from every corner of the land and directed against threats that no single nation could hope to overcome. Yet while the purpose of this hypothetical organization is undisputed, the logistics of its formation have become a source of endless debate. And the longer these discussions continue, the more I sense the impetus towards the unification draining away. Thus have I been campaigning for the creation of what might be considered a trial company. It'll be on a much smaller scale than what we had hoped to eventually achieve, but capable of the same manner of unrestricted operation according to the Scions. 'Tis my hope that the successful utilization of such force will lend momentum to the lagging deliberations. Also, being a primary military outfit, I mean to assuage fears of its misuse by placing the fledgling organization under the authority of the antecedent. The Scions work tirelessly to protect Eorzea and its people. But as you yourself have witnessed with the refugee revolt, there are limitations to what even we can achieve. With this new company under the Scion's command, however, we will be capable of responding to a wider range of difficulties without straining our resources or overtaxing your formidable talents. The goals of my proposed organization and those of the Scions are ultimately identical, a point conceded by all concerned. But before I can move forward with establishing this precursor to the true border-expanding Grand Company, 'tis yet necessary that I visit 3 leaders and gain their official approval. A tiresome and time-consuming task, which is why I would ask that you accompany me on the journey and attend to the business of recruiting our inaugural members, while I am otherwise engaged with bureaucratic formalities. Thank you. 'Tis reassuring indeed to know that the Bringer of Light and her discerning eye will be selecting our future allies. Our first destination will be Limsa Luminsa. Let us rendezvous at the Bulwark Hall. Crap. Alright, Limsa it is. Do 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 do. All right, you said the hall. Ah, there you are. I am ready to ascend to the bridge and speak with the Admiral. While the Admiral and I are finalizing permissionary boundaries and signing parchments, I would have you begin the recruitment process in earnest. I have, of course, endeavored to spread word of the organization through various channels, but I believe a personal approach will reach many who may otherwise remain ignorant of the opportunity. As for potential members, 'tis of no matter should they already be pledged to another institution. only that they are willing to lend their strength when the situation demands it. And you needn't range into the countryside. The upper decks alone are populated with sufficient candidates to suit our purpose. Once you're satisfied with your recruiting efforts, meet me at the airship Tigger counter, that we might prepare for our next leg of our journey. Alright, pretty sure we go to the Drowning Wench. Right? No, we are going all over Limsa for this. Okay, we're going all over the upper decks of Limsa for this. Alright. Yeah, let's head to the Marauders Guild first. No one at the Culinarians. We got one of the Pirate Lords over here. An organization with the freedom to operate with territorial impunity? I must say, your proposal intrigues me. But the Crackguns well know that there is a time to act and a time to watch. I'm afraid this trial company of yours falls into the latter category. Alright. One down. Master Alphino's new organization? Yes, I had heard of the formation of this trial company was in the offering. 'Tis with regret, however, I must decline your invitation. As commander of the Yellow Jackets, the protection of Limsa Lominsa must needs receive my full attention. Fair enough on that one. Oh, and 2. So, hit up the Maelstrom, then go to the Blacksmith's Guild. Do, 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 do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do, 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 do. All right. Who in here? Nope. Not at the Maelstrom. The other Pirate Lord. Yeah. Who in the bloody hell's you think you're talking to, Drylander? I'm a pirate, not some sodden knight in shining plate. If you're looking for your self-righteous frop, try knocking on that Danny Carlvin's door. And another strikeout. This is going swimmingly well. A precursor to United Eorzean Grant Company? While I do admire the scope of your ambition, my responsibilities here at Nowlick and Vilmos keep me close to the forge. I have not the time to be traipsing hither and yon or across the realm. Should you require my skills as an armorer, however, I might be willing to accept some special commissions. Alrighty. That was number 4 in the failure category. And this is part of Limsa that I always get lost going around. Okay. Do-do-do-do. So we go to number 5. Well, if it ain't Saphrine, I'd not forget an adventure brave enough or daft enough to seek shortcuts into Titan's bedchamber. You remember old Roll, don't you? Formerly of the Company of Heroes, 3 Whistles at Bronze Lake. Aye, it ain't often I drag me arse out to Limsa for a drink, but I'm right glad I did. How fare you these days? You looking to put together a new crew? Top tier work? Sounds right like Lark does. Alright, lass, count me in. Heroes may have gone their separate ways, but I ain't ready to climb into me grave just yet. 1 out of 5 ain't bad. Alright. How do I get back up there the fastest way possible? I think the drowning is going to be the best option. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. And take the elevator up. Or no, we got to go to the airship landing. That's right. So I want to take the elevator. Down. Where next? Gridania? Get the feeling that Ulda is going to be last. Saphrine, you're recruiting well, I trust. I'm curious as to how many proposals was received by the rough and ready folk of Limsa. Ah, a member of the legendary Company of Heroes indicated his interest? Astonishing. I knew enlisting your aid was the right choice. Few could boast the acquaintance of such an elusive character. I, too, was successful in my task. The Admiral consented to sign all the documents requiring her approval. I can only hope that my visit with the Elder Seedseer proceeds as smoothly. Pray continue on to Gridania at your own pace. I shall await your arrival at Nufka's altar. Alright. That's not too bad. Maybe. There we go. Do, 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 do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nope, not what I wanted. There we go, that's what I wanted. Conjurer's Guild. And our boy should be right outside. There you are. My audience with the Elder Seedseer is due to commence momentarily. I would be grateful if you would once more seek to the task of recruitment here in Gridania. After you deem the well of potential candidates has run dry, let us rendezvous at the airship ticket counter as before. Great. Alright, we got 1 at the amphitheater. Oh gods, can it truly be you? By what fickle fortune must the first face I see upon my release be yours? Could it be that you don't remember me? It is I, Lorenz. Yes, the man whose crimes you exposed. I was a whaler and a regular patron at Buscaron's, and I was selling myself and Gridania off to the Garleans. Well, of course you do. I was beginning to wonder if a gal had changed me more than I realized. Not that I particularly wish to be recognized after my shameful conduct. Less said of my past, better, I suppose. And what of you, adventurer? What brings you to this part of Gridania? Recruiting, eh? And what's your policy on reformed convicts? As matters stand, the Wood Whalers would have not more to do with me. This may be just the second chance I was looking for. Revenant's toll, you say? I shall leave at once. You shall not regret this, I promise you. I am a changed man. Alright, that's number 1. We're gonna have to take the long way. Do 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 do. Do do. Ah, there we go. Grandfather, you must call it a day. Let us return to the guild ere rest your tormented back gives up on you for good. I'm terribly sorry. We were just... Oh, Saphrine, isn't it? It's been some time since our paths crossed outside of Copperbell Mines. Why, you were barely more than a novice adventurer back then, but now look how far you've come. Mother Mune tells me 'twas you who felled the fearsome Black Wolf. And now you seek stout-hearted souls to fill the ranks of the New Order? Yeah. Well, your cause is undoubtedly just, and my old companion here would much be relieved to see you and me in good hands. Yes, I'll do it. This is the very thing I've spent the entire adventuring career working towards. I shall join your company just as soon as I've seen this old area here home. Alright, 2 more. I think this is the butler. Probably. Still here. You would offer this old man a place in your company of champions? I am both puzzled and honored by your invitation. Pray forgive me, young mistress, but I cannot accept. I have sworn to abide here for whatever scant years remain to me, and bear responsibility for the evils my lady had wrought upon this land. Yeah, that was pretty expected. Oh, crap. You. Will you join my cause? Huh. 'Tis not often a guild officer such as myself gets recruited. This company of yours certainly sounds to have some promise. But its duties appear less than focus. I must refuse your invitation until such time as your organization is more organized. Completely understandable. What news, Saphrine? For my part, the Elder Seedsir was most amenable with our requirements. A former wood whaler and a seasoned adventurer. Our company will not lack for variety, that much is certain. I am interesting harvest indeed. Shall we strike into Uldal whilst the iron is hot? Let us meet at the Royal Promenade and endeavor to conclude our business. Our journey draws to a close. Alright. I can do this for Ulda. Oh, this is hurting my voice. He said the promenade, right? Alphino. Ulda, the gilded city where one's fortunes define one's worth. I hope some manner of fortune is with us, and that this final leg proves as successful as the previous two. Might I suggest descending into the lower levels before beginning your recruitment efforts? I do not think the Sultana will take kindly to us poaching from her personal guard. Let us meet back here at the promenade with our respective tasks are complete. Good hunting, Saphrine. All right. Who do we got first up? Wilred. Been a while. Wait, you're the lady who came to Little Alamigo looking for that masked devil. Who knows what might have happened if you hadn't. I'd probably be dead. And a whole lot more of my friends besides. Ugh, we were such fools. Anywho, that disaster really got me thinking about our homeland and about the outsider who saved us from ourselves. Realized how easily I'd been manipulated and vowed to make myself a more worldly man. So here I am. A new company of champions. And you say it'll take me to all corners of the realm? That sounds exactly the kind of opportunity I need. Don't worry. I'm not the same stripling you met in Little Alamigo. I've prepared myself to fight the evil I now know is out there. A little boy has grown up. Alright, where are we to next? Strip. A company of heroes that looks to cure the ills of this realm entire? Listen, friend, I can scarce bear the complaints of the next all over, let alone the conundrums of a neighboring nation. Aye, you'd be surprised what rumors drift down in Pure Lane. I know this glorious new company of yours and just how far I'd go to avoid getting involved with it. Whispers around the street say your organization is funded by corrupt coin, by syndicate money. If you think you're recruiting for a just cause, then you're a bigger fool than I took you for. Ouch. Let's see. What was next? I'm sorry. You wish to recruit me? Is this some new fashion manner of proposing to a lady? Well, I'm afraid you're wasting your time. This lady is already spoken for. Good day to you, miss. Definitely not awkward on that one. Oh, what happy coincidence. Do you remember me, perchance? I'm Orson of the Church of St. Adama Ladaman. Thank you again for your timely rescue. I must also thank you for preventing that fraudulent priest from preying upon dry bones the less fortunate. A most upsetting business. Are you here with your companion Thancred, wasn't it? Ah, 'tis new companions you seek then. Your proposed organization sounds a powerful force for good, but my place is at the church with the children. Nevertheless, I wish you do well in this undertaking. Well, we got, what, one person out here? So that was one in Limsa, two in Gridania, and one in Ul'dah. 4 in total. Impressive. How fare you, Saphrine? What hidden gems did the streets of Ul'dah offer up unto your unrelenting gaze? A single Alamigan youth. Well, you've certainly given us an admirable start, even if our ranks are yet somewhat thin. In these troubled years following the calamity, talk of Eorzea's salvation must seem akin to grasping at clouds. But there are those who have risen to the challenge nonetheless, and the hope that inspires these people was born in no small part from the victories you yourself have won. Thank you, Saphrine. I will not squander this precious gift you have placed into my keeping. These recruits will become the foundation of a new beginning. And yes, we are free to begin. As you have no doubt surmised, the Sultana also graced my trial company with her blessing. Our first wave of recruitment is over. Documents signed and finances secure. There is naught to prevent me from taking the next step. You are concerned by the syndicate's involvement, as was I. Thus was the origin of every coin of their contribution carefully scrutinized and recorded. This organization will not be built on corruption. Naturally, I would prefer not to rely on outsourced sources after all. But even my family's substantial coffers could not sustain a venture of this magnitude. And as for the rumors and doubts surrounding this enterprise, well, such things shall plague us until the company has had a chance to prove its worth. It will not be an easy process, but we will earn the people's trust one success at a time. Speaking of time, we should waste no more of it. Let us return to the Rising Stones and lay the first stone for our united Eorzea. Sit.
Tell me, General, what think you of Alfino's bold endeavor?
Oh, crap, I'm not on auto. Whoopsie.
I think it is more than bold, Your Grace. His organization would pave the way for a united Eorzea. Well do I understand his impatience, since facing the common threat of the Ultima weapon, our nations have seemed farther apart, not closer together. Considering the many problems we face, should we not be glad that someone else is taking the initiative?
We have all pledged our cooperation, yet the grumbling continues behind closed doors. Ul'dah is not alone in her duplicity. I myself have doubts as to the good this organization will achieve. With the inclusion of the finest soldiers of the 3 grand companies, it promises to be a fearsome military body. But whom will it serve? Even under the watchful gaze of the Scions, it is not unthinkable that such a force could perpetrate a great wrong. Does it not concern you that a significant proportion of its financial backing came from the coffers of the Syndicate? That those unprincipled worms might forge this extraordinary gathering of warriors into a private army?
I have trust in the Scions, Your Grace. They have spared us no end of trouble at the hands of the Primals. If they seek reinforcements, I deem it unwise to deny them. As for their finances, full many gave generously. And though our nobles proffered a sizable sum, their coin did not spill from the pockets of Lolorito and his cronies. And what of the presence of our stalwart adventurer friend in this endeavor? I doubt the warrior of light would betray our cause.
Yes, there is that, I suppose. Yet I have known people to change. Whether we will or no, the events of the age hurl us this way and that, like a dust devil skipping across the sands. Cannot be done about Telechi?
I have explored all avenues available to us, Your Grace. But as Ul'Dan law now stands, we lack the evidence to convict him of any crime. To arrest him on spurious grounds would only play into his hands.
He has all but committed treason, and yet we can do nothing? What our government? What worth the royal house? How deplorable this mockery of justice!
They really,
Have faith, Your Grace. It is not over.
really went all out for that cutscene. And definitely put in the effort to make you hate that goddamn Telechi. All right. Where? There we go. Christ, this is going to take the whole time. There we go. Oh, that is not a journey I soon wish to repeat. But I cannot pause to rest. The culmination of all of our efforts is at hand. And I must see the preparations for the inaugural ceremony. Thank you for allowing me to monopolize your services, Saphrine. I am certain the antecedent will be relieved to see you free from other duties. Greetings, Saphrine. Alphino tells me all is in place to begin his trial company. The Scions shall certainly be grateful to have the support of such an organization. The inaugural ceremony is to take place here at the Rising Stones. Tataru is cooperating with Alphino to see that all is in readiness, so I'm afraid the recruits themselves have been left to their own devices for the time being. Quite a number of new faces have arrived here at Revenant's Toll of late, and I'm wondering if Slathborn might not find himself overwhelmed. Would you speak with him and see if there's aught he requires? Been a while since we've dealt with the dude. Oh. Come on, let's go. What can I do for you, Saphrine? I thought you'd have your hands full helping out with this new arm of the Scions. Heh, I barely noticed your recruits arrive. It was barely a trickle compared to the flood of treasure hunters we've had pass through here every day. While I appreciate your offer to aid, it is more your burden that concerns me. I'm told this company will answer directly to the antecedent, so I trust you means less work for you in the long run. Slathborn, shipment, we couldn't... Gods, woman, what befell? We are bringing a shipment to Revenant's Toll, provisions earmarked for the frontier Ifrit. But just as we crossed over into Mordona, we were set upon by brigands. I believe they may have been heretics. There are many, too many. We only escaped with our lives by abandoning the supplies. Pray forgive us. There is not to forgive. Provisions can be replaced, but smart soldiers are hard to find. Take your rest and I'll have someone along to tend to those wounds. Oh, what to do? If the heretics are involved, then this is like to be more a case of than simple thievery. Hishgard will need to be informed. Whence did these supplies originate? House Four Temps. We collected the provisions from Camp Dragonhead proper. Understood. I shall see that they are apprised of this development. Saphrine, were you not on good terms with the Knights of the House Four Temps? I'll be sending them a missive immediately, of course, but I'll also have you travel there and offer your considerable talents. Yes, I realize I contradicted my earlier hopes to lighten your load, but I need someone who can help bring this incident to a satisfactory conclusion. Our favorable relations with Ishgard are far too important to risk half measures. Thank you for your understanding. I'm certain Lord Harshfont will be glad of your assistance. Alright, let's go deal with our good old boy Harshi. Been a while since we've dealt with him. Well, if it isn't my fine friend Saphrine Kanakuro, what can I do for you? A plate of roasted cockeroo? Some mulled wine? No? I see you haven't come on to my hall merely to escape the biting cold. What is, in fact, on the verge of opening an urgent missive from Revenant's Toll, and I suspect the timing of your arrival is no coincidence.
The incident with the new frontier hands? No, you need not elaborate. I have been following their progress with no small amount of interest. Brave men and women all. They do our nation a great service. The existence of a fortified outpost in Mordona will do much to dissuade the Empire from trespassing on Kurthus soil. Right glad am I that you have chosen to lend your support to this endeavor. Never let it be said that House Fortom does not acknowledge the efforts of her allies, or her debts. 'Twas in the spirit of gratitude that I arranged for sundry supplies to be delivered to Revenant's Toll. That the shipment should chance to be waylaid by heretics is poor fortune indeed. Poor fortune, I say, yet not without precedent. If you would know the truth of it, these incorrigible villains grow more organized with each passing day. This new unity of purpose we attribute to their leader, the Lady Iceheart. But though I have devoted significant resources to the task of identifying this woman, we have yet to learn so much as her birth name. What we do know is that the heretics speak of Iceheart in reverent tones, and would gladly embrace death rather than betray her. Such loyalty is rare indeed, and I fear to imagine what so committed a collective might achieve. The brigands have not yet been so brazen as to risk direct confrontation here in Dragonhead. Some few of their number have, however, been sighted not far to the west of here, and with ever-increasing regularity. A visit to Whitebrim Front may bring you the answers you seek. Will you brave the snows, knowing what implacable foes may lie in wait? Halone's blessings be upon you! Though I take no pride in the admission, many of mine own countrymen are not so well suited as you adventurers to dealing with such foes. Were they dragons, it might be otherwise.
could not wish for a finer ally. You have done much for my house in the past, and I have no doubt but that I shall have cause to celebrate your deeds again ere long. Should you learn aught of value, pray return to me forthwith. A warm hearth and a warmer welcome shall be waiting for you.
All right. God, not this tower crap again. I'll be so glad when I don't ever have to go into these towers. Do, 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 do. All right. I believe this is the entrance. Yep. Saphrine, is there aught you would ask of me? Pray speak plainly. I am a man of action and need no honey words. On the trail of a band of thieving heretics, you say? By the furry, but you do seem destined to cross paths with those villains. I must confess, then, 'tis a sad truth that the wilds hereabout have indeed grown thick with their number. They strike swiftly, without warning, and are canny enough to evade our most able trackers. But 'tis not merely their newfound organization that confounds us. The heretics have found themselves somewhat changed. I know not what manner of influence this Iceheart wields, but the men we face seem utterly lost in their grip of righteous fervor. 'Tis an unsettling, unnatural zeal. Mayhap you would care to question one of our recent victims. As fate would have it, your rival came moments after the traitor was waylaid on the road. Patrol found the unfortunate fellow lying senseless in the snow and carried him to our infirmary. Assuming he has regained the use of his faculties, the merchant might recall some of the details that could aid you in your task. Hopefully so. Where the hell is way down? There we go. I think this one's in the infirmary. Nope, it was the other one. Not you. Not you. You. To tell you what happened, well, yes, of course. I'm quite recovered enough for that. Anything to help catch those cowardly Blackhearts. I was traveling my route for White Brim front when suddenly blows sent me reeling. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground. Several heretics were rifling through my cargo. Arms, armor, crystals, they were taking everything. It was then that one of them noticed my bleary gaze and stalked over me, better acquainting my head with his mace. Before darkness claimed me, however, I distinctly heard the words, "Return to Snowcloak." I dare say that's where they're hauling my goods, but you'll not catch me rushing off in pursuit. They tell me 'twas a miracle I survived. Oh, not trust my thick skull to save me twice. There we go. Snowcloak is this way, not that way. That would be Stone's Vigil over there. Which... that must be Stone Vigil hard. Yes, one more thing on the list of crap that I'll never get around to doing. Gah, draw your weapon. Felt. Wait, I recognize you, adventurer. You're come seeking the heretics? Then we share a common purpose. We were on patrol when we were chased across one of their raiding parties and pursued them here. By rights, we should have had them cordon this ravine, and yet they're gone, vanished like ice wraiths. God damn, she's small. No, we want to keep that. Well, that was a lengthy cutscene. You glimpsed a woman atop the cliff. Could it be Iceheart herself come to sneer at our folly? And where did she disappear? The heretics must have discovered a passage to their frozen wall, some hidden tunnel that escaped our notice. We have not the men risk further investigation. 'Twould be best were we to return to Whitebrim Front and lay our suspicions before Lord Drillmont. Nope, that button. Once more into the towers I despise. Great. Mm-hmm. Saphrine, it appears I owe you right things once again. The surviving knights spared no detail in their report. The men you found near Snowcloak were some of my finest. That they should be bested so handily, I fear I have woefully underestimated the threat these heretics pose. While I understand you might balk at the notion, I must ask that you put aside your mission and consider the stolen provisions lost first, for now. 'Twould be ill-advised to blunder unprepared into what may well be the lair of our enemy. Pray return to Dragonhead and inform Lord Harshfon of your discoveries. He will wish to plan contingencies of his own. As for Iceheart and her fanatics, the freezing heights of Snowcloak will not shield them from our justice for long. Alright, we want to talk to our boy again. Sure he's going to be pleased to hear about this.
Your return is most timely. Of their own accord, my thoughts had turned to your task and the progress thereof. I confess, my imaginings tended toward the grim and bloody. But you are here now, and I suspect such frivolous wonderings do little justice to the reality of your travails. Tell me, what did you learn of Iceheart? Indeed, and this transpired at Snowcloak? Of all the highlands, that towering wall has borne the worst of the region's brutal shift in climate.
Mm-hmm.
So inhospitable has Snowcloak become that we have still to survey the area in its entirety. Could its frozen heights conceal the heretics' hideaway? Mayhap a more robust reconnaissance effort is in order. Putting such considerations aside for the moment, we still know far too little of this Iceheart. That she is capable of commanding such a band of fanatics bespeaks natural authority, and no small measure of charisma. As much as I would like to fathom this mystery with you, the situation has grown beyond my personal purview. I am bound by duty to inform the Temple Knights and request that they bring this matter to its conclusion. Given the glowing reports the new commander has garnered thus far,
I am certain that they can be relied upon to take appropriate action. Though Iceheart's true identity yet eludes us, you have provided us with a point from which to begin. Sometimes it takes but a single stone to prompt an avalanche. On the matter of the stolen provisions, I have already made arrangements for a second shipment to be sent to Revenant's Toll. I could not well allow such an honorable venture to be undermined by one miserable setback.
Okay. Back to Revenants we go. And this one will be the last quest, so let's get it on. Nope. Not that. That. Saphrine, 'tis good to see you return to the Toll. How fare you in the frozen wastes of Kothros? House Four Temps is sending us a second shipment. I must send thanks to Lord Harshfont for his continued generosity. Yet even as our town grows in prosperity, I feel it will attract ever greater number of those who would do us harm in the name of greed or power. All of us, Alphino's new recruits included, must remain vigilant against such threats. Yep, here we go. While you were away in Kothros, preparations for the inaugural ceremony were all but completed, although Taro doesn't seem yet somewhat flustered. I've taken enough of your time. Why don't you go head into the Rising Stones and see if your frantic receptionist could do with a hand? Alright, what did that Lala do this time? Oh, crap, I didn't want to do that. These parchments need to be sorted in these documents. Why are they even here? Oh, I'm sorely tempted to file a lot of waste paper basket. Ah, Saphrine, you startled me. You wish to lend me a hand? Splendid. Wouldn't you be a dear and hand these uniforms to the new recruits? They're scattered all about Revenant's Toll and I haven't time to track them all down. The recruits know to don their garb immediately and assemble here in the Rising Stones. You'll want to report directly back to Alphino if you don't wish to miss the ceremony. I wonder if the Scions will ever have matching uniforms. A well-funded organization is a well-dressed organization, I suppose. Yeah. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Holy crap, there are a lot to hit up. You. This little shithead. Those who believe this company will see no riches are short-sighted fools. Giving oneself as an investment in the future. Thus did I sign my name to the cause. I'll be so glad when... Ugh. These uniforms were a splendid idea. Once our organization has made a name for itself, there shall be a wealth of plenty in selling replicas costumes and adoring masses. Is this one up top? Yep. I thought it best to mimic my fellows here, but I admit I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing. That's awesome. What are new uniforms? Oh, I'm reminded of my induction in the Wood Whalers. I'll get the one up top first. I don't believe we met. I am Ilbert, and will have the honor of leading my fellow recruits as captain. Much did I lose to the calamity, and look forward to aiding others in rebuilding their lives. Uniforms are a shrewd decision. There is no easier method of creating common bond among what is, essentially, a band of strangers. The scarlet garb marks me as a proud member of the Maelstrom, and yet a hardy defender of Limsa Lominsa. Yet in truth, I stand for the betterment of the realm, and though this new company is a fine opportunity to contribute on a grander scale. Oh, now that's a striking shade of blue. Put aside my maelstrom uniform, my wardrobe will certainly not lack for color. Holy crap. Yoselja has at last retired from the adventuring life, and though I shall miss his wisdom and irrepressible spirit, I am excited to forge my own path forwards. Ah, yes, the uniform. Thank you. Truth be told, the thought of pledging myself to such lofty organization is somewhat intimidating. Nope, that one. Hello there, lass. Looking for me, was you? I'd suggest you giving a whistle, but I'm not sure I'd hear it amongst all the bustle. Ooh, proper uniforms and all. This thing's cutting off the blood of me head. Not to worry, though. I'm sure she'll be fine after making a few adjustments. Little El Amigo could learn much from Irvin is told, that this town can be so alive in the midst of such desolation. I never were not quite such voluminous. Well, I'm sure I'll grow accustomed to the extra cloth in time. Alright, where's the last one? There we go. Saphrine Kanekuro? Gods, I did not expect to meet you strolling about. The tales of your primal battles were what inspired me to come to Revenant's Toll. 'Tis an honor to receive this uniform from your hands. I shall wear it with pride. Was that everyone? That was everyone. Alright. Ah, Saphrine. Tatara mentioned you were handing out new uniforms. I assumed you've met the new recruits? Some few answered the call to arms I put forth through established grand companies and such. We are not yet an army, but there is much a small core of elite warriors can achieve. Did I mention I had thought of a name for the company? 'Tis my hope that it shall be known across the breadth of Eorzea. The moment draws near, Saphrine. Once the last recruits have gathered, I shall make the official announcement.
Comrades, your presence here this day signifies the momentous choice that each of you has made.
Did I not turn that on? There we go.
With your strength now pledged to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, you are beholden to no single nation. You stand as the vanguard for a united Eorzea. From this moment forth, I declare you Crystal Braves. Let us mend this fractured realm and face our enemies as one. Whether it be the Beastmen and their primals, or the conflict in Carteneau, it is plain that the nations of Eorzea cannot solve the problems which plague the realm. Thus does it fall to some few heroic souls to succeed where they have failed. Come, take your place at the Scion's side as guardians of Eorzea, and together we shall fight for the freedom of all! For the freedom of all!
A rousing speech, Alphino. Or should I say, Crystal Brave Commander Leveilleur?
Really?
Please, antecedent. The title is honorary. I shall not be leading the troops into battle, as it were. We are of the same purpose. Let us join hands and do what must be done to save this land.
The Scions stand ready.
Right. That's said and done. And we shall finish this out.
I'm eager to see what the Crystal Braves might accomplish. This shall prove an interesting time indeed for the Scions. Yes, I'm listening. So our worst fears are confirmed. The entire Isle. Such power defies comprehension.
Yep.
Truly? Kryl is alive? Thank the 12. I see. Pray, inform me if her condition changes. Yes, I shall pass on your words to Urianger. My thanks. I shall contact you anon. When I learned of the loss of the Isle of Val, I dared not hope that my friend had survived. Yet, by some miracle, it would seem she has. She's still to regain consciousness, it is true, but better that than death. Putting this happy news to one side, we must now endeavor to make sense of the readings taken by the survey party. It appears the etheric disturbance which accompanied the Isle's destruction is of a magnitude alarmingly close to that of Ultima. Could the Ascians be responsible for this devastation as well? I wonder, have you heard aught from the Mother Crystal since the battle with the Garleans?
Nope.
Then she speaks to neither one of us. Heidel's silence portends naught but ill, I fear. Louisoix, I pray you yet watch over us.
And with that, we end the Crystal Brave chapter. Maybe. And we are going to lead into the Sheba chapter, which we'll deal with next week. Very good. See that the provisions are prepared for transport. Let us hope that this shipment shall be spared the fate of its last. The winds are uncommonly fierce this day. Nice view of Ishgard. And we are building up to Heaven's Word here. That's encouraging. All right. So yeah, with that, we created the new temporary grand company of Eorzea with the Crystal Braves. And settled the matter of the newest primal being summoned over in the Twelveswood with Ramu and the Sylphs. So hopefully we won't have to deal with any more primals for the rest of ARR. Who knows? But yeah, coming up next week, we'll have the whole issue of dealing with Iceheart and Shiva up in Kothras yet again. Because who doesn't like freezing cold? And we got a preview of what's laid ahead for us in Heaven's Ward when we actually get to that point. So yeah, things are going along, and this one was a bit shorter than normal, but I am pretty drained. And I know the next section is going to be a while, so we're going to leave it here. As for us here at the corner, we're going to call it on that note. So, as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.